Good morning, my loves. Good morning. Let me share this into my group. When you're hopping on, say hello. Let me know where you're watching from. If you are watching the replay, hashtag it replay. There I am. Let me share this into my group. There we go. Okay. Good morning. Hi, Tammy. Hello. If you guys could share, if you feel called to your favorite group or your profile or wherever you feel called to, that would be awesome, now or after you feel like you've received value. I have my Andromedan aspect here, and I have this immense pressure in my throat to channel. And so we want to talk about current energies. And as I mentioned in my last broadcast, I would do energy updates as I felt guided, because at time feels so weird now after this big shift that I went through. Literally, it feels, I can't even give you an ultimate description. Like, I just felt like you got to go on. I haven't put my makeup on yet. I haven't done anything. So I'm here. Good morning. Hi, Barbara. Hi, Vanessa. Hi, guys. I appreciate you being on here this Saturday. Who is feeling the energy right now? And what are you feeling? Because it is, everyone's probably going to be across the board. It's going to feel it differently. But for me, I don't know, the shift that I went through and entering into a new frequency, man, things are so different. So different. Salime, my love. I have to say, Salim, that I had someone reach out who worked with you. So for those who don't know, in my private group, sometimes my private mentor students who are learning to open up their extrasensory abilities and step into their purpose, their mission work, will do practice sessions. They're allowed to do practice sessions and then, offer free sessions to people in my group. So anyway, one of those people reached out and she just said how phenomenal her session was with you. So it's such a gift to be in my group sometimes, you get to reap the benefits. Tammy says, yes, feeling buzzy, elevated energy. Yes. See, it's not always bad. Intense is not always bad, you guys. Intense is not always bad. Because it is. It's just a lot of energy. And that's why I always say, like, when you feel anxiety, it's just a word. It's a label that we give it, right? It's just an abundance of energy. And what we do with that energy is what changes it. It allows it to be something that could benefit us, or something that is like, oh my God, what's happening? Why is all this energy here? Why do I feel this way? What did I do? What's happening? Let me put my glasses on so I don't have to keep leaning in. I just don't like wearing them on the screens. I feel the change a lot. A lot is happening, but I actually am feeling pretty good. The vibration feels very high, but positive, at least for me. Yes. Awesome, Barbara. Good morning, Trisha. Awesome. So yeah, the energy is a lot. We have some interesting things that are going on, though, that they want to talk about. So let's talk about that, and just feel free to comment along the way and we'll have a conversation about it. But so let's see, where do we want to start? So there's a bunch of different things happening that, yes, there's some astrological events that we'll touch on, but and when I say we, I mean my collective and I, we have discussed in previous channelings how the world may seem divided, and that this year is really about balancing, coming into that center point, which is your heart space, that space of neutrality. Okay, so I have a mix here. I have my Andromedan self and I have my Arcturian self. When my Arcturian aspect shows up, it's a little bit more. I have to pause more. Okay, so bear with me. We talked about how this year was the energy of grace. We're after great transmutation. We experience grace. We experience true grace. It's almost an energy of relief and an energy of finally seeing the purpose behind all of this discomfort, or what humans like to call pain, that it was worth it. Seeing the purpose behind going through that journey and almost having a sense of appreciation for it. Because of this, we will have an amplification on both sides of the energy spectrum. Remembering that there is no separation between dark and light. There is no separation between density and light. It's merely perspective. And each offers that perspective for the purpose of evolving your soul forward. But oftentimes the humans get caught up in the lower density frequency spectrum. So understanding there'll be an amplification of both sides of the spectrum. This energy is beginning to amplify. Our current energies is one of what humans like to call being tested. Over the last few years, some of you have really been doing your work to be able to respond and choose differently when presented with the same patterns, obstacles, and challenge, also known as limits. January, or this current energies, is really one of testing you to see if you are going to put all that you have learned and all that you have experienced into practice so that you can enter into a new base frequency. Many people are feeling that cusp, feeling that they are on that edge of great change and afraid to step off into it for fear of the unknown. They're talking about me now. I am feeling that as well. I have already stepped off that ledge. I'm no longer on the ledge. I have stepped off of that ledge and am walking on thin air, as how I like to put it. I'm walking in the uncertainty. I'm walking in it, and it feels very different than any other time that I have stepped out into uncertainty. Again, I've mentioned many of times before that as we spiral up, if you will, or spiral, and our soul, continues to move, it's literally a new level of the same thing to an extent. And so we sometimes can forget what we've just been through. And so for me, as I, again, go through a journey of evolution, another, stage of evolution where I'm going through great change and upgrading my frequency, this time when I stepped out into uncomfortability, when I stepped out into faith, it feels different. It feels different. It feels like I literally have no safety net. And the test for me is, am I going to anchor my safety in me, or am I going to go like this and try to find safety outside of me? So that's a lot of what my test is about. So they were talking about me and having me share that example. So with the amplification of frequencies, we are going to see a increase in spiritual they're saying development, but it's not in the same context as you think. It's more, and you're going to see it more mainstream. You're going to see people wanting, choosing, and being interested in learning more about meditation, plant medicine, things like that. You're gonna start to see an amplification of people being drawn to that industry. And this is why it's also been so important over the last couple of years for those of you that have been feeling that push to step into your mission work. I've talked about several times over the last couple of years that like now is the time. And it's interesting because what they say is in an energy of in a understanding that there is no time. Those of you who were feeling that pressure to step in, you're out of time. It's do or die, like in a human sense, right? Human words. It's now or never. It's like step in. It doesn't mean you have to be on camera right now doing that. It means you have to be practicing, learning, stepping into, desiring to be of service, and really taking your mission work seriously. And a lot of you will be feeling that immense pressure of I got to do it now, and feeling like you're going to miss out. That's actually a real feeling. That's your soul pressing, like it's time. Let me drive. Let me do what I'm here to do. But with that said, they're also saying that there's going to be an amplification of the dark, and this is what we wanted to talk about too, in a way that doesn't invoke fear, and just making you aware, because there's going to be a lot of distractions that show up. There's going to be a lot of disruptions that begin to show up. And again, these are happening for the masses who need that added pressure to step into self-awareness and to begin to see past the limiting veils or belief systems that are keeping them in their cage of comfortability, and really forcing them to seek alternative understandings and awarenesses that break them free. So in human words, we need a pressure cooker to wake people up. And they have to do this on their own time. Like when somebody is in denial, you can't tell them that they're in denial. It will only further push them into denial. This is why I say, like, don't try to wake people up. It's a waste of your time. Allow for the natural energies of what is going on in the world to do what they need to do for that person, each person's journey. It's really a waste of your energy to try to wake people up and make them see something that they're in denial of or not ready to see. And so when you try to show somebody that they're in denial, it only pushes them further into denial. And so we have to allow the course of action to unfold so that they become aware of their own denial. It is only in that state of awareness that they were in denial that they break free of it. And I actually know a lot about that because that's my core wound. My core wound is denial. This, for those of you who are on that cusp of what we call living in the fourth dimension, that is a frequency. A dimension is equal to perception. So don't get caught up on if you're not going to make it to 5D, you're not going to make it to New Earth. Let that all go, they're saying. Dimensions equal perceptions. And the whole part of living in 5D or living in even a higher dimensional frequency is embodying that energy into your physical vessel, allowing it to be the lead perception or lenses or glasses that you wear and live through. Your whole world will change when you can understand that point of view. That's really good advice. Sorry, they're having to clear me as we go. Okay. So those of you who are living in that fourth dimensional frequency or lens, you are the ones who are dipping into the lens or perception of 3D and into 5D. You are essentially having one foot in each plane and going back and forth, trying to find your balance, because this frequency is very fluid. It's not meant to be one that is sustained for a long period of time. It is meant to be a moving bridge to move you into the next lens of perception. But the fourth dimensional perception is one that gives you that opportunity to continuously see both sides of that spectrum very fluidly, and to give you the choice. That is your free will, the choice of which timeline, which perception, which reality do you want to live through? What do you want to experience? That is your choice. There is destined paths for you. Your free will is choosing what has already been pre-laid out, what you want to experience and how you want to play in that experience. It's like saying, here's 4 houses. You can live in either one and each will be different. And once you step in, how you decorate it, how you value it, how you appreciate it, how you see it is how you will experience this life. And that is how your free will works. So you ultimately have a choice. But those of you who are in that frequency still, those are the 2 timelines that we will have. Those of you who are on the cusp of that range of the 4th dimensional perception, and those who are moving on to higher dimensionals, that is the divide that we will feel. For those that are on the 4th, these distractions that will be coming up are going to test your belief systems. They're going to offer you a choice. Are you going to buy into the distractions being offered? Are you going to play in those lower dimensional frequencies and begin to fight or see or operate in that world? Or are you going to observe that world and not be of that world and continue to live in a space of neutrality where you can be the observer of all realities? Or do you want to embody and take on the higher perspective frequency and hold space and grace for those who choose to struggle, who choose to play, because that is what they're doing? No matter where you are on the frequency spectrum and how you want to view this reality and this game, you are playing. So when you're playing in the lower dimensional frequencies and you feel like you are a victim, you feel you are in lack consciousness, you feel the world will never get better, can you recognize that you are playing? That is a role that you are choosing with your free will to play in. If you choose to see at any time through a different perception, that is your choice as well. You can take responsibility and acknowledge that you are playing in the lower dimensional frequencies. And you can say, I wonder what this would look like from a higher perspective, from the lens of my higher self, from the lens of my guides, from the lens of my angels, from the lens of my galactic self, interdimensional self. It's a choice. And sometimes we choose to play in the lower dimensional frequencies because in that density, sometimes we find the very fuel that we needed to quantum leap. There was something that we needed to bring to the surface that would ignite our forward momentum. So it is not always a negative thing. It's about your level of awareness when you decide to play in those frequencies. Okay, so now they're asking me to talk about the astrological part of this. So Sunday, tomorrow, we'll have let me take a drink and check the comments before I move forward. Good morning, TikTok. Salim says she's so immensely grateful being around my energy and having me as my mentor. Oh, thank you. Good morning, Dolores. Kelly says, this is like where I am. Yay. Okay, good. Okay, just want to make sure I wasn't missing anything. Salenza, good morning. Okay, astrologically, so tomorrow we're going to have a full moon in Cancer, which is actually opposing the sun in Capricorn. Well, they're saying Pluto, so talk about Pluto. So Pluto, it's going to be conjunct. It's going to be, I'm not an astrologer, so I'm doing the best. I read the energy of the planets, so they're kind of giving me some insight as well. So on one side, you're going to have the moon reflecting back the sun in Capricorn, but it's also going to be opposing Pluto. Pluto is the great transformer. Pluto is the thing. If you look at your astrological chart and see what Pluto represents, this is why I like human design, because it kind of simplifies that. You'll see what the biggest thing you're here to transform is usually in your Pluto, or if you have Lilith in your chart, you can look at the wounded healer of Lilith. But really, Pluto is what we're talking about here. So the interesting thing is they want to talk about the elements. For those who don't know, the Andromedan energy is really rooted. You'll see it. Let me say it's not rooted. It's most expressed, as they're saying is the better terminology, in Hinduism and in Indian culture. So this is where a lot of the shamanic energy comes from. The Andromedans and the fairies are the ones that created this matrix. And so that's really something that's was super interesting to me. And it's a 10th dimensional energy. There's a lot of dragon energy here, the giants. So remember, a lot of you who've been following me for a while know that in 2019, I was channeling the ancients. The ancients are a part of the Andromedans. So the two are one together. And the giants are wisdom keepers. The giants are wisdom keepers. And so there's so much, for lack of a better word, history to our planet and our evolution that's rooted in the Andromedan energy, because that's where it came from. So they want to bring in the elements. So with Cancer, it's water, right? It's a water element. And with Capricorn, it's an earth, okay? And with the earth side having Pluto there and the sun, there's a lot of activation of what you are here to transform. Hence why they said that there's going to be essentially January. And honestly, if we let go of time and months, I feel this coming a little bit into February as well, where this is kind of like your graduation point for a lot of people who are moving into that split, right? Remember, I talked about December, January, February being that separation where we had the split of time of timelines, right? Where there's people who are going to stay on one side or the other. But this is actually remember, the physical aspect of anything that happens energetically is a slow motion replay. So if I'm in a super great vibration and I plant the seeds, and I do all the things, it takes a little while in a denser plane of existence for it to manifest into tangible form, right? Manifest is to make energy become form. So there's a slow motion replay. So it's actually taking a few months for us to really see that split show up, even though energetically it's already happened. So this is the process that we're going through. So a lot of people that are where I am on this journey, they are the ones that are moving. And when I say moving, I mean embodying and letting that be their new base frequency into the new energies. And then there's the ones that will be in the fourth dimensional plane who are going to decide, do I want to stay here and keep playing in both? Or do I want to take that leap and go over there? And so there's a lot of people that are feeling that. So for me, right, I'm feeling this is a graduation point for me. January, December, January, February are graduation points for me. Am I going to, when those old patterns show up, am I going to choose differently? Am I going to respond differently? Am I going to fight with it? Or am I going to surrender? Am I going to respond and take action? Am I going to allow fear to move me? Or am I going to observe the fear and be like, hey, fear, what's up? Let's be friends. It's okay that you're here. I love you no matter what. And let's do this together. Or am I going to fight with myself and take action from a space of fear? So there's a lot of people being tested right now. So as those distractions come up, it's going to bring up a lot of things from the past that we're going to be given an opportunity to shift and transform and to show, be different. So with the energy of Cancer, there's a lot of inner child energy, which tells me that this is going to be a lot of things that will be triggering any residual anger, resentment, grief, pain from things that we thought that we resolved. I know for me, yesterday I had like 3 or 4 different things come up, and I noticed the agitation. I noticed the anger. I noticed that it was trying to move me, and I didn't allow it to move me. I was like, no, we're not doing that. But I did it from a place of love. I didn't do it from a place of judgment or things like that. So that's going to continue to happen. And the world stage is about to reflect a lot of that back to us. So I do feel that there's going to be a lot of extreme weather that's going to, and I talked about this last time, but more earthquakes. I talked about that, and then like yesterday or the day before, I saw that there was like some huge earthquakes off the coast of California and Alaska. So there's going to be extreme weather events. They do want to say that this is going to come up. So what they're saying is this is going to show up, meaning people are going to start talking about this. There is manipulation in the weather from your government, not just in the US, but worldwide. However, the majority of the extreme weather events that are going to be happening is the physical manifestation of the energetic changes that Gaia has already gone through. It is the physical release. It is a testing point for us to see how are we going to respond. Are we going to recognize that release in her and allow it to be a release in ourselves? How are we going to respond in the moment of, they're saying catastrophic, but it's not going to be catastrophic. They're not, I think we're having, I need a better word because that's not the right, I know what you mean and that's not it. In the moment of uncertainty, in the moment of not knowing if you're going to have power, if you're going to be able to use your cell phone, what you're going to be able to do, are you going to trust you? Are you going to take a breath and say, you know what? Let's just take a breath and we have everything we need. Let's figure it out. Can you make it into something that is, they're showing me like bundling up with your kids and using candles and telling ghost stories and making it fun. Are you going to make an adventure? Yes, that's a better word. Are you going to make it an adventure, or are you going to make it some big dramatic event that you're a victim of? So that's an interesting take, and it's good to know. Like, I know for my state, we have some weather coming. I don't think it will be as bad for us, for me, because I'm on the coast. But I do know that we have some extreme weather coming. And we've already seen weird weather, but they're saying that that's going to continue all over the world. So not just in the US. They're saying Australia is experiencing and will continue to experience some very strange weather as well, or at least what appears to us to be a strange weather. There's also going to be some fear stories injected into the media for ways of manipulation to lower your frequency to a point to where that they can obtain control over you again. So stories of asteroids, stories of war, of revolution. And they're saying there will be some form of revolution, but it isn't going to show up the way that people are. It's almost like they're saying you guys watch too many cowboy movies. It's not going to be like that. It's not going to be like that. It's going to be more of a state of no more. we're not playing this game no more. People are starting to see that they're doing these things to manipulate you. Robin says, feeling it, world full of worry. I feel the change. Yeah, that's why they called these 3 months the Great Change. I can totally relate to that. I've been forced to sit down and are hearing there is nowhere to run away anymore. Yeah. Ooh, I got tingles with that one, girl. So I'm forced to sit with my own old wounds showing up, working through the 4 frequencies. That's the purification process for people who don't know. That's my modality. Like so many times during the day. Thank you guys for the hearts on TikTok. Jesus is my bud, man. Sorry, we have some rude people on TikTok that are trying to get attention because they don't feel good about themselves. But I love you, so it's okay. Okay. Let's see. Do they have anything else that we want to talk about with this? Okay, so for this moon energy, this is where we're going to have the peak activation. It feels like an activation of this energy. So keep this information in the back of your mind or in your heart or in your field of awareness as things begin to be unveiled. So they're showing me a shakeup. There's going to be a shakeup that's going to start to happen. We will never see the depths of the shakeup that will be occurring. They're saying globally this year. We will not see, they're saying there's a lot of people who want to see this play out like on national TV. They want to see these people humiliated or ostracized. But they also say that you have to remember that I am you and you are me, and that when you want to see that, that is because that is how you are feeling, and you want your energy. You want it to be mirrored back to you. I like that. So they're saying that when you feel that you want to see your politicians or your leaders ostracized and held accountable and and being held responsible for the way the world is, that is a mirror reflection of you saying, can you take responsibility? Can you take responsibility for your contribution to the way that the world is? Because your vibrational response, the reality, the world is a vibrational response to everyone's state of being. So the more each and every person steps into this work of self-realization and taking ownership and responsibility for how they feel and choosing to make peace with that, to become one with that, then I don't know what this is. Sent TikTok universe. What is it? Says sent TikTok universe to. Does anybody know what that is? It's very distracting to me. Sorry, I got out of that. Was very. I'll have to end my TikTok if that keeps happening because I don't know what it is. Let me get back to that. What they were saying. When you see when you want that, when you desire that, when the human desires to see somebody, when they desire justice, to see their leaders be prosecuted, be held responsible and accountable, when you want someone else to take responsibility, it is a reflection that you yourself need to take responsibility. So the shakeup that is happening, because it is already happening, it's been happening, but the shakeup that is quote unquote coming or is currently going is in the process of happening. We will never see the depths of it that we feel we want to see. And they seem to understand the root of this, which is interesting. I feel it's interesting because they say that when we wake up out of the sleep or the veil that we knew what everything was, and we start to become aware that we've been lied to and enslaved, we get very angry. And so the anger is that protector, right? It's grief's bodyguard. So that anger comes through to protect us from feeling that pain and heartbreak of being lied to, of feeling like a fool, like feeling humiliated, like how did I not know this, or how did I fall for this? And they said there's going to be a lot of that happening this year as more truth is revealed about things that have been happening. And they're showing me the needles, so they're showing me the jab, and things like that. The more things that come to surface, the more people are going to feel lied to, manipulated, taken advantage of. And they can't take back those choices, right? So there's going to be a lot, and they're saying there's a lot of other things that are going to come, but that truth, that level, that continued level of disclosure that will continue to happen, and the intensity of the state of the world is going to wake those people up and break them out. So as they do that, you're going to see a lot more angry people in the world because they are pissed that they didn't know what they didn't know because they weren't ready to know it until they know it, you know? Yes, Robin, it's time for us to just be good people in love. Absolutely. Because that's the thing. When they talk about awakenings, they often say, let's not go into I told you so's. Let's not get in people's faces and be like, I've been telling you this has been going on. I've been telling you that this is what's going to happen. Or I've been, I told you my conspiracies, or why didn't you believe me? That will actually further make somebody not feel safe. And what we need more than anything, because the real pandemic is fear, okay? That's the real pandemic, is seeing for the first time how fear has been used for centuries to control and manipulate. The antidote to fear is safety. You can't unconditionally love somebody and you can't receive unconditional love. You can't receive love if you don't feel safe. Your heart will not open. So we don't even know as a society what love truly feels like, because 98% of the population is still operating from a 95% closed heart and thinking that they know what love feels like. And I can feel the weight and power behind that statement. I can, because even me who's channeling, my heart is not even open 100%. That's the embodiment process I will be going through this year by embodying my higher dimensional aspects. So that is a very powerful understanding. So grace, again, grace, charm school, being kind, allowing people to be where they are, observing it from a place of love, recognizing that that's where they're choosing to see the world through and from. Again, it only causes you pain when you take someone else's truth and use it to replace your own truth. When you believe someone else's interpretation of you versus what you know to be true for you. So that's really powerful. So this moon is kind of that activation point for us seeing the extreme polarities that are going to show up. There's going to be an equal dark and lightness available to you, and you get to choose. You get to choose. And for those who step onto that path of uncertainty and faith and trust in themselves, you're going to begin to reap the rewards of that in February, March, and moving on. You will begin to open up that divine feminine flow and begin to receive very abundantly in multiple forms. We're not just talking money. But it comes from you choosing to anchor safety and trust and confidence in your ability to navigate whatever shows up. Doesn't mean that you have to be the one that solves the problem. It's, you know who to contact, you know where the resources are, right? You say, you know what, this is here. I must be ready to experience this, even though I don't feel like I am. Let me take a minute. Let me practice my pause. Let me get into a neutral state. When you are in an activated state, fight, flight, freeze, fawn, when your nervous system is activated, you are allowing fear to move you. If you want to be moved by the energy of love, and you are to, in fact, that was that's going to be my, I think that might have even been my post today on TikTok. I haven't done it. I haven't posted yet on my other platforms, but the message was, and that's why now I get why I had to post that one today. If you allow fear to move you, if you take action from a state of fear, you will go in the opposite direction of that in which you were meant to go in, and you will start the cycle back over again so that you can go play by play and learn and choose and see how you got that to that space to begin with. And you will be given another opportunity to become one with that energy. You'll get another opportunity to choose differently and break free. If you allow yourself to get into a neutral point of view, to take responsibility for your activated nervous system. And for those that know the purification process and my frequencies, you allow yourself to become one with that energy, to integrate it, to love yourself through it. And you come into that neutral position and you choose to make your decisions from that place. Things will fluidly move forward exponentially. I'm using a lot of big words. My screen must be dirty. I see how they fly like Lucy in the sky. See how I'm flying. Awesome. Oh, you're so welcome. Yeah, this morning I woke up and you're welcome. I could feel this mass pressure to come on here and channel. So does anybody have any questions about any of that? Your best bet is to, when the emotions arise, when the agitation arises, is to take responsibility, acknowledge that emotion is present, allow yourself to feel it in its totality. It won't anger, sadness, agitation, all of that, any emotion that you feel. When you feel the emotion, that's the process of it taking you through that journey of release, right? But oftentimes we repress that emotion, and it just compacts and builds, and it gets stored in our organs and in our fat cells and in our bones. And for those that have a lot of repressed energy or who fight with this, there's going to be a lot of people who get really sick. And I've actually already seen that. I've seen two things. So I can only speak for me and those that I know that are like me and where I am. I've either seen people get really, really sick recently over the last 2 months. They've either been really sick, whether they want to call it COVID or not. Some did not have COVID, but they've either were really, really sick, like deathly sick for 5 days to 2 weeks, or they had major shadow event that transformed them. I was the shadow event. I talked about this in my old membership. What I went through that, and it was a death experience. Either one, it will be either you're going to feel like you're dying sick, or you're going to feel like you're dying going through a dark night. Mine was the dark night, and I literally knew it was an ego integration, what people like to call ego death, because I felt like death. I wanted to die. So those are the integration points. So if you're fighting it, or if you're not choosing to be aware of it or see it, that it's there, some may go through it, being really, really sick, and others may, who are presented with it, become aware of that energy and choose to allow themselves to move through it. Will go through a mini dark night, and it will be pretty intense. So those are for the people that are choosing to go up the vibrational scale and begin to embody the higher dimensional frequencies. So when you make those shifts, notice that those are the different things that can show up. We hold a lot of anger in our liver. We hold fear in our kidneys. Our adrenals are a response to our nervous system, which then trigger the thyroid, which then brings our whole body out of whack. So there's a lot of health things that will start to show up. And allow yourself to purge whatever is happening. Allow yourself to go through it. Allow yourself to love yourself through it. But don't fight with it. Fighting with it is where we get suffering. Fighting with it is where you'll suffer. Don't fight with it. Go with it. Go with the flow. The minute you feel suffering, resistance, pressure, tension, stress, recognize those emotions mean that you are fighting with yourself. Make a decision and you will get automatic feedback if that was the decision that you want, in the direction you wanted to go in. And they say that humans are so afraid of being wishy-washy or not getting it right on the first time. There's a lot of ego perfectionism. If you are feeling stuck, that means you feel stress, tension, exhaustion, agitation, frustration, these energies. You're stressed, you feel stuck between, you're in inner conflict. You got your soul and your ego and they're battling it out. Make a decision. This is why I teach people how to read their own energy in the energy matrix. It's something that I will tell you for the rest of your life. It will be the greatest investment you ever make. It will be the investment that pays off for every decision you make. When you know which one, you can test which one do I feel is more in alignment. But if you're not there yet, or even if you are and you're not practiced, you're not mastered that yet, just make a decision and you will get automatic biofeedback to whether this is, and you'll be like, oh no, that definitely wasn't the right choice. Let me try the other one again. And it's okay. This human journey is a journey of trial and error. It is a journey of trial and error. So let go of the ego labels and perfections of getting it right the first time. They're saying that we don't, as humans, don't like to be ostracized or humiliated or look stupid, when it's none of those things in reality. You are doing what you were designed to do. You are experimenting, you are playing, you are learning and evolving, just like a child. We don't make fun of children as they're learning to navigate being human and having a body and learning how to do these things. But as we become adults, we become hardened to our programming and conditioning of our caregivers. And we judge and ridicule and beat ourselves up for not getting it right the first time. I just glanced where I left off on your book. Next segment, taking responsibility. My heart is pounding. Oh, Dolores, I can feel that for you. You know, my next book is going to talk a lot more about taking responsibility. My next book I think it's going to be a series. That book is going to start a series because we're going to go into deeper expressions of each of them. John, I'm not doing free readings. I was just channeling for the collective. So just know that there's a lot coming up. So they want to talk about communication. We're going to see disruptions in our communication, and they're saying even in the alternative news, there is a lot of fear-based information. And they're not doing it intentionally to invoke fear. They're just trying to get you the information that their audience is looking for. And that's what they're saying. The humans like the soap opera. They like the drama. They're not wrong. So let's not pretend that they are. Otherwise, reality shows would not be a thing, right? So with communication, we are going to see some disruptions in communication, but it will not be a 10 days of darkness or some big cataclysmic event. It will continue to be what it already has been, that nobody has been reporting on, which is periods and sections going offline for purposes of realignment. They show like a purging and realigning of sectors, is the word I'm hearing, sectors. So be sure to have multiple lines of communication to be with people like me who will be your support system and help calm your fears, to your friends, families, and people that you feel safe and supported by. So basically the people that you really want to stay in touch with, make sure you're on their email list, make sure you're on their other platforms. Like I have a Signal, I'm on I'm sorry, I'm channel mode. I can't remember human things. I think it's Telegram. I don't know. I'm on those. Just be in connection with those other avenues that aren't as censored. And I'm asking them what the point of that is in my head, but with communication. So some of the platforms there'll be platforms that go down again because they're going through that cleansing realignment. I don't see any particular one platform going away, at least in this energy that I'm in right now. I don't see that happening, but I do see that they will continue to go through a purging and realignment of energy. That's the only way I can describe what I'm seeing, and what they're showing is through that lens. As it looks like they take it offline, they purge, they purge. It almost looks like knots or filters, and it's like they just they're like taking that away and realigning it so that it's not. So a lot of the things that were censored. So go to platforms that don't censor and just have them there so that you feel prepared. It's a way for you to feel and know that you are going to be connected. But they want you to know that we have collapsed the timelines where, like the doomsday timelines, those are not going to be a thing. It doesn't mean that people won't see or feel like the world is that way. Again, what you believe is what you will see, even if you think seeing is believing, because that is still a belief. So how you see the world, what your belief systems, what frequency, again, we're coming back to that you choose to see through, is how you will see the world. And you get a choice. Whether you believe it or not, you have a choice at all times to change those lenses, to change it. I don't know who this person is, but I'm not asking for anything, so you can get blocked. I don't know how. Manage. Block. There we go. All right. So that's what I felt called to come on and talk about. What they wanted. My pressure in my throat is gone. So I think we got everything out that we needed to get out. On Monday, pending I have power, because I will be a part of that storm, I will be in my YouTube membership doing what I've been doing this past week. Channeling wisdom, having cosmic conversations. Sometimes we will have a big message in the beginning that they're wanting me to channel, and then we'll just go to the comments and we'll be having a conversation and be talking about multidimensional things, cosmic things, the ascension journey, our bodies, whatever seems to come up that's going to navigate and move your soul forward. So I'm going to be doing a lot more channeling of my higher dimensional aspects in my YouTube membership. It's $9.99. It's super ridiculously cheap. And so I'm just going to drop the link to that. If you have an iPhone, it's not as easy to subscribe, but you can do it. So if the link that I posted in the comments, or for those on TikTok, it's in my bio, my profile, there's a link, and there'll be a list of links, and there you'll see YouTube membership. When you click on it, if you're an iPhone user and you hit open app and you don't see a join button on a video or on the screen, go do it from a desktop computer or from desktop mode on your phone. I don't know when YouTube's going to get it together, and I know they're more of a Microsoft, Google-based company, but it would make it a lot easier if they made it iPhone friendly. But it will be worth it once you're in there. And then when I do these live things, you have the unlisted link, you have the videos, and you have, you can join me or watch the replays depending on where you're from. But I'm going to be doing a lot more of this in there. This is what brings me joy. And so just sitting here talking and having a conversation with you guys. So feel free if you feel called to join that. If you don't, that's cool too. I will still be doing them publicly. It just won't be as much as it will be in the membership. It'll be when I feel guided to do it for everybody. So just know that that's available to you when you choose to do that. My other membership has officially closed. As I mentioned, I'm going to be following my joy this year and doing things that I'm not going to do things just to make money. And that's, not that I've done that in the past, but I've been doing things and offering things to see, do I like this? Does it bring me joy for long periods of time? And my last membership lasted 7 months, and I think it was longer than that. It evolved over time, but I would have kept it had I been able to do lives this way and there, and I just couldn't figure out how to make that work to where I could have an active audience. And so I had to close it and chose to do the YouTube way. Again, YouTube, I can't control. I can't control how they take payments. I can't control all of that. And so it was interesting that was the method that was left open for me, because everything in my life right now is about walking on faith and letting go of control. So I have no control over the YouTube platform in the way of that aspect of it. So it felt good to me to offer these deep channelings for only $10, essentially $9.99. So if you feel called to it, join it. But I'm doing the things that light me up because I come first. Me, for you, for us. So if it benefits me first, and I know it will also benefit you, then I will play in it and see what comes of it. So this felt good for me to do. And it's something that I enjoy, and I have enjoyed since the minute I started channeling. So obviously I do it for free, and I would continue to do it for free if money wasn't a thing anymore. So of course it's going to be the thing that I actually go into. All right. So if you guys feel called, you can check that out. Other than that, enjoy this full moon energy. If you can't sleep because there's so much energy, don't scroll. Either meditate or color or journal. Listen to, nature sounds. Do things like that. Don't do things that awaken the left hemisphere of the brain. Don't watch TV. Don't do those things. Just really allow yourself to rest, but get out of bed. If you can't sleep because of the energy, get out of bed, curl up on the couch or in another space, and do something that utilizes the right brain, the creative flow. Okay. All right, my loves. I hope you have an amazing weekend. Thanks for joining me. Feel free to share this out or share it with somebody and share this information. We had a lot of good information come through. And for those of you that will be in the membership, I will see you on Monday morning.